Howdy. So for this week I wanted to continue on with the spooky theme since it is almost October and it is most definitely spooky season. And so I really love Halloween. I love Halloween decorations. I love all the colors associated with Halloween. That being said, I also love pastels and pink and really cute things. And I saw this picture by Crafty Kaysen on Instagram and fell in love. It is the cutest thing. And I've seen pastel Halloween decorations floating around the internet for a while, but this one really got me. So I am taking the plunge and I'm going to make my own pastel Halloween decorations. I went thrifting this weekend and I got a number of Halloween decorations. You can't really see my pumpkin garland, but I have pumpkin garland. I have this cute little bat wing gargoyle wing dish. I have this light up pumpkin, and then I have a couple of trick-or-treating pumpkin pails, and I also have this gargoyle picture frame, which had the most interesting filler. There was a pink cardstock background with mysterious feathers in the frame. I don't know, seems kind of cursed. So that means we're definitely starting this off right. I also thought this would be a good opportunity to introduce myself and for you to get to know me a little bit better. I also asked on my various social media platforms for questions that I will be taking, and then I can also answer those while talking about myself for the duration of this project. Also, let's hope that I don't get anything on this shirt. I am very well known for spilling paint and spilling everything on myself when doing projects. So I might have to put a shirt on over this. We'll see. So I got a number of different pastel color paints. I also got some black glitter because I think I'm gonna put that on the eyes of the pumpkin pails just to kind of make them pop a little bit. But I just was kind of gonna go for it. I've seen some pumpkins that have really cute designs on them. Crafty Kaysen's has the clouds obviously with the different colors on it. So I was gonna kind of do a little bit of the things that I've seen, but also kind of just go for it and make it my own. So let's get started. All right, so I figured I would start with this wing bowl thing and go ahead and paint this one. I think I'm gonna paint it blue. I think that would be very fun and very interesting. So as I said in my first video, my name is Ella. I am 23. I live in Alaska, all the way up north. And I am a non-binary femme lesbian. My pronouns are she, her, and sometimes fleur if I'm feeling fancy. I'm autistic. I have ADHD. I am also disabled. I recently got a diagnosis of fibromyalgia with a hypermobility spectrum disorder, which means that my joints don't like to stay in their assigned seats. And I'm very flexible. But that also means that I deal with a lot of chronic pain, and because of that, a lot of chronic fatigue as well. So it makes life a little extra difficult. And within the past year or so, it's gotten a lot worse, which is why I've started to really seek out answers for things. So I've gotten a lot of blood work done. I've done multiple tests. I have seen a lot of different doctors, and nobody really knew what was wrong with me for the longest time. And it was a very difficult process, but I'm very happy to have answers now. I'm very excited to start treatment. My doctor, my rheumatologist, recommended that I start aquatic therapy. She recommended that I do like aquatic yoga and aquatic Pilates, things like that, different types of aquatic physical therapy, which I am very excited about. I love the water. I have missed swimming, because I used to swim when I was younger. I was a very athletic child, very active child, but that's obviously changed ever since I've started dealing with the chronic pain and fatigue, which came out of almost nowhere. I've been feeling symptoms for the past 10 years or so, and everyone just kind of attributed it to being, oh, you're just a teenager. Oh, you just have a vitamin D deficiency. Oh, you're not eating enough vegetables. Oh, you're not getting enough sleep. And like, pretty much everyone that I know that has a chronic illness or a disability has heard all of those things and more, and it is so frustrating. Like, so frustrating. Because we know that, yes, some of these problems can be fixed with a different diet, more sleep, all that kinds of things, but we often can't get more sleep because of the pain. We often can't have the right diet because it's expensive and it's not very easily available where we live, or a number of reasons. It's very difficult to balance all those different intersections of your disability. Because while it might be cheap for you to get produce and good food and things like that, it's exhausting to have to cook your own food all the time, which I have to do now because I found out that I have a lot of food allergies. So I've been having to cook all of my food, and as someone who has chronic fatigue, it's so difficult to have to cook all the time, all of my meals. I can no longer like throw a pizza in the oven. I can't just like put some chicken nuggets in the microwave. I can't do a lot of those things anymore because of my allergies. So I've had to make all of my meals from scratch pretty much, which normally I don't mind because I love cooking, but to have to do it for every single meal, every single day, it gets to be a little much. So I have been trying to find food that is ready to eat that I can actually eat and enjoy. As I mentioned before, I'm also autistic and I have a lot of problems with textures and food textures specifically. So it makes finding ready to eat foods that I can also eat with this diet and all of my allergies very tricky, because if it doesn't have a good mouthfeel, I won't eat it. So that's a struggle too. Another fact about myself is that my favorite color is pink. You might not be able to tell that about me. I mean, you might be able to infer it if I kind of gave you hints, but you used to be able to tell right away because I just had bright pink hair and all of my clothes were pink and I had pink everything, and I still have pink everything. My water bottle's pink, my phone case is pink, my nails are pink, my clothes are fairly pink, but it's not as easy to detect anymore because I don't leave my house anymore, which means I don't get dressed up anymore, which means you can't really tell anymore because we are in plague era. So I don't leave my house, especially because I am immunocompromised. So you don't get to see all of my cool pink clothes and fun, wacky styles anymore. There we go. I used to wait tables. I can hold things like this. I used to have to balance trays and a whole bunch of plates and bowls and cups on trays all the time. So, kind of a professional. No big deal. Another thing people might not know about me, just by looking at me, is that my taste in music is very interesting. From looking at me, you might say, oh, she listens to pop music. Oh, she listens to X, Y, and Z. And that is true. I do listen to like pop and modern stuff and things like that. But my favorite type of music to listen to is, in fact, heavy metal and rock. It's trash day, so if you hear any errant trash truck noises, that's what it is. And if you hear any errant jingling, it's one of the 2 cats that live in this house. Okay, let's answer some questions that people asked me. Christopher Throbbin asked, Christopher Throbbin. I love burlesque performers. Where can you recall your interest in, especially historical costuming, originated? Fun story. So I used to do theater when I was in high school, and one of the shows that we did was Oklahoma. And I played Gertie, who has the most obnoxious laugh. And it's set in the 19th century in Oklahoma, obviously. So, hi Beetlejuice. I helped out with some of the costuming, with my costume specifically. I had this dress that I got for Halloween when I was like 7 or 8 or 9 or 10, somewhere in there. And it was this pale blue ensemble, and I wanted to make it match the other dress that I was wearing. I'll show pictures of those. And so I cut the skirt and I added lace to it to match the red dress that I was wearing, because we love cohesive character costuming. And that was my first sewing project in terms of costuming that I did. And then I graduated high school and I joined the Renaissance Fair here in town. I was charged with making my own costume. I mean, you could make your own costume, you could buy your own costume, you could borrow it from somebody else. I have very interesting body proportions, so trying to find costumes that are pre-made that fit me and that were within budget was very difficult. So I ended up making my own costume that first year, and the group that I was in within the Ren Fair was based out of Tudor, England, in the last couple of years of Henry VIII's reign. So like 1545 is kind of where we said that we were set in. So I had to make a chemise, I had to make a skirt, I had to make a head covering of some kind, and I'm obsessed with French hoods. They're beautiful. I think they're just absolutely stunning and amazing. And so I made a French hood, and I made a pair of stays that were not very good, but that's okay. It was a first attempt. I had a really good time in Ren Fair that first year. It was a lot of fun. And so my first year I was a lower class merchant, and so my costume was not very opulent. And then the next year I was promoted to being a lady. I was one of the Baroness's ladies in waiting. So I got to amp up my costume, which meant that I had to do a lot of research. I had to figure out how to sew things better, and that's kind of where the official interest began in making historical costumes and just making costumes in general started. So I made a Anne Boleyn style gown out of green silk because we were in Greencourt, so obviously it was green silk. So that was my first foray into historical sewing. And then later that year I made my Cinderella dress, and it was based on 18th century bodice styles. So I made 18th century stays to go with it. So that's kind of my start into historical costuming. I haven't made anything historical specifically since. I think my Cinderella project was the last like big historical thing that I made, and I've just been kind of doing little things here and there. I've made a couple different princess dresses since. I have made some different types of like everyday clothing. I've made a couple of different corsets, but nothing strictly historical. Also, this pumpkin is pink and it's cute and I love it. Okay, next question. Katie asked, easy ways to fix holes in good sweaters that still looks nice. So there's a couple of different techniques that you can do to fix sweaters. I'm assuming you mean like knitted or woven sweaters. There's a couple of different ways that you can do that. There's obviously patches. You can make patches for the holes in the sweaters, and you can actually get really artistic and really creative with those patches, which I think is very cool and very fun. To try and coordinate different patches. You can do different shapes, you can do different sizes, you can put patches over the holes obviously, and then you can also put other patches to make it look less obvious, to make it look like it was done on purpose. So patches are always a good way to fix sweaters and to fix holes in things. And then there's another technique, I believe it's called darning, where basically you kind of take thread that is in a similar color or as similar of a color as you can find to the thread in the sweater, or if it's a yarn or something, a very similar fiber as to what the sweater is made out of in a similar color, or you can do a contrasting color if that's your vibe. But basically you kind of like weave that thread back into the gap until you have that patch. And you can do darning in a way that it looks seamless. So if you made the sweater, you can find the yarn that you use so you have an exact match, or like I said, you can do a completely contrasting color and do it that way. It's totally up to you on how you want to do it. But I have seen some really, really talented people who have fixed holes in their sweaters using darning, and it's a seamless fix. It's amazing. I've never done it personally because I don't wear a whole lot of sweaters and I don't wear a whole lot of knit items. Taylor asks, your favorite crafting hack / a crafting hack you wish everyone knew about. This isn't really like a crafting hack. This is like one of my personal favorite techniques that I like to use when sewing something. I like using overlays for fabric. So instead of trying to find that one specific fabric or trying to paint a fabric or bedazzle a fabric or manipulate the fabric in such a way to make it custom, I like doing overlays. So I find like a plain colored fabric or a really like dazzling fabric, and then I'll put something on top of it so that it has a different appearance. Kind of hard to explain. I did this for my Cinderella dress and it turned out really well. The skirt and the bodice are both overlays, so it's plain blue silk with a flocked organza on top that has blue swirls on it. I'll post pictures somewhere. And it really gives it a very cool texture and effect. So I guess overlays, doing fabric overlays and layering fabrics to get different fabrics and different looks is probably one of my favorite techniques, and I guess a hack. This is so cute. I'm so excited. Brooke asks, can you please do a video on how to cross stitch? Sure. I haven't done cross stitch before, so we'll find out if I can do it. Probably. I mean, it looks fairly intuitive, fairly easy. Yeah, but I do embroidery, so I mean, how hard can it be, really? So yes, Brooke, I can post a video of how to cross stitch. There's a lot of other tutorials on YouTube, but if you want to see me specifically try to cross stitch, I mean, we can do that too. I did have plans to do some like meme embroidery at some point. We can definitely do that for you, Brooke. Oh yeah, this is gonna be cute. I feel like I'm in arts and crafts in elementary school, which is funny because my last name is Craft. It's me, I'm the craft. Fun fact about me, I'm a Taurus, and you can most definitely tell. Whatever that means. I don't know much about astrology, except I know that Tauruses are Tauri? Taurus? I know that Taurus people are very stubborn and bullheaded because our animal sigil thing is a bull. And that we like sleeping and we like food, which are all accurate things about me as a person. I also like sleeping and I also like food, and I am very stubborn. My #1 favorite movie of all time is Titanic, which, if you know me, comes as no surprise. It's got everything. It's got historical fashion, it's got Kate Winslet, she's a redhead, it's a good time, the music's phenomenal, the story is really good. It's such a well done film. Like, James Cameron's attention to detail is just absolutely impeccable. Like, he went down and actually went to the Titanic wreckage, so that's awesome. But I've been watching that movie since I was a very young child. I used to have a TV in my room that only had a VHS player, so I would just watch VHSs all the time, and we had the 2-part VHS of Titanic. So I would watch Titanic all the time. I would watch Twister and Speed and Tombstone, and then also all of the Disney movies. I was obviously a very big Disney princess fan, so I watched endless Disney princess movies all the time on repeat. But yeah, Titanic is my #1 favorite movie, and it's just so well done, and I love the music. I have the album, multiple albums. I have both albums for all the music. James Horner was a very talented composer, and I really loved what he did with the Titanic soundtrack. I'm also a very big music person, so I love listening to film scores, and I love how they all tie in to the movie and the characters and the different themes that you can think of with film scores. I think it's such a cool process and such a nice, neat art. Very big fan of film scores. And James Horner is one of my favorite composers. My second favorite movie, these, after Titanic, these aren't in any particular order, so like just favorite movies. Tombstone. I love Western movies and cowboys and yeehaw. So I really love Tombstone. I love Crimson Peak. Crimson Peak is one of my all-time favorite movies as well. It's so beautifully done. The costumes are stunning. The music is beautiful. The set design is amazing, and how the costumes tie into the set design and the character design. I love Crimson Peak. It is such a good movie. So here's my gargoyle boy. It's looking good. It's looking good. I'm very happy with how this is turning out. It's very cute. And it'll be very purple and very cute too. Alright, I have put a thin layer of paint on everything so far, and I'm gonna go ahead and leave it all to dry. I do have to go back over and fix the teal pumpkins. Those are probably the ones that are in need of most help. But I'm actually very pleased with my progress so far. Everything looks real good. So I'm gonna go ahead and get ready for my appointment. I'm gonna pick this back up tomorrow, and then I will probably put another layer of paint on everything and then do the detail paint for the pumpkins, the frame, and the little gargoyle wing dish, which I'm probably the most excited about. That gargoyle wing dish. It is so cute and I really love it. So yes, I will see you tomorrow with more questions to answer and more fun facts about me. Bye. Howdy. Welcome to day 2. I'm tired. I woke up this morning and I felt like I was run over by a train repeatedly. So this is what you get this week. But yeah, in all seriousness, fibro flares, fibro as in fibromyalgia flares, suck. I'm in a lot of pain, I'm very tired, I have a lot of brain fog, so if things don't make sense, I'm sorry. That's just what my life looks like sometimes. Most times. Most of the weeks. Yeah. Also, if you hear any that noise, it's my tattoo bandage. So we'll just ignore that. But I got everything coated in a layer of paint. Everything has been completely painted. I'm very excited about how it's turning out. Everything's looking really cute. Some things are still drying, so we'll just leave those be. But I think now I'm going to start on some of the detail work. So I think for this pink pumpkin, I'm gonna paint the eyes black, and then once that's dry, Mod Podge them and put black glitter on them. And then I think I want to do a dripping black ooze going down the top into the sides, and maybe Mod Podge it and put glitter on that too. We'll see. For my little wing dish, I'm gonna go ahead, mix up a darker blue-gray color and then add some shadowing detail. And then I'm gonna go ahead, once that's dry, and dry brush the bones with a little bit of a light blue or a white. I don't know if I want to use white. I think it might be too stark of a contrast, but we'll see. Just to kind of really bring out the highlights, and then those shadows will do the low points, just to give it more dimension. So for the teal pumpkin, I think I'm gonna do something similar with this one, like the pink pumpkin. I'm gonna paint the eyes and the mouth detail black with glitter, and then I might splatter this one with black to kind of look like a blood spatter, but a black blood spatter. So we'll see, I don't know. And then for all of the pumpkins, the pink, the teal, the yellow, I'm gonna go ahead in the ridges and do some like dry brushing, shadowing detail to kind of weather them and make them look disgusting. And then for this pumpkin, it's still a little wet. Oh, very, very wet. So for this one's got the light in it. I think, I don't know what I want to do with that one yet. We'll find out. We'll see. I might splatter that one with all the different colors, maybe. Or maybe, no, okay, so I think what I want to do for the yellow one is I want to have the, I'll probably do black again because it's the most stark. I'll probably have it being like oozing black from the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. I'll probably make that black glitter too because that's just fun. For the picture frame, I went ahead and painted the rocks and the chains black. I will dry brush it and go over the detailing with a lighter gray. And then I can start adding the detail, dry brushing, shadowing, highlighting effect on the bricks and on the gargoyle in different colors. So this one, all of the detail work on all of these items will be very similar in terms of the dry brushing with the shadowing and the highlighting detail. And then the garland, I don't know what I'm doing with the garland. I might splatter each of them with black, or I might do black dripping on some or alternate that, so I don't know. We'll get creative. Okay, and while we do this, I will answer more questions because I got more questions. Kirsten asks, why are you so cute? Well, I'm glad you asked. I've been wanting to leak my secrets for a very long time. So I start out every morning with a glass of cute juice, and then I have another glass at lunchtime, and then I have another one at dinner, and another one just before bed. So it's a very strict regimen of certified cute juice to keep me very, very cute. So thank you. And Derek asks, is there any automated way to make sewn eyelets, or must they be done by hand? I didn't know that you could do it by machine. I just thought you could do it by hand. I thought maybe, oh, you have to use like a buttonhole foot or something along those lines. But I did actually find a video that goes into detail about it, and it is by Endelo's Cosplay. Has a video on YouTube that shows you how to do it by machine. There's a little part that you can put on the plate of your machine that you stick the fabric that has the hole punched through, and then the needle goes around and stitches the eyelet. So yes, it's possible to do it by machine. So I will go ahead and link that video somewhere up here so you can watch it. It's very helpful, very informative, because I had no idea that you could do it by machine. I thought you were just cursed to have to do eyelets by hand, which sucks. Especially if you have to do like 18 on either side of a pair of stays. That's rough. Mary Beth asks, what is the airspeed of a laden swallow? Well, it depends. Is it an African or a European swallow? I mean, one has to know these things when you're king. But I actually Googled this, and Google says about 24 miles per hour for a European unladen swallow. Hi, Beetlejuice. I love you. For the gargoyle wings, I took a dark bluish gray paint that I mixed and went ahead and shadowed underneath all of the wing parts. And then I took a light blue highlight and went ahead and brushed all of the high points of the bowl. So that includes all the bones and just kind of in between, just to really bring out the highlights. And then when you dry brush, you have only a minimal amount of paint on your brush, so you really only catch the surface layer, and that's what's going to bring out all the highlights and really give it a lot of dimension. For the pink pumpkin, I painted all the features black, and then I dry brushed the grooves and distressed it, and really focused on making the grooves the darkest part of the pumpkin, and then just made everything else messy on top with that dry brush technique. Pumpkin is painted. He looks real good. Very distressed. Very cute. And now we're going to paint the rim and then do the drips down the sides of the pumpkin, because I think that'll look cool and spooky. So I'm just gonna kind of take my brush and just really messily paint the rim of this pumpkin. I'm not too concerned with how this looks, because like I said, we're just gonna have paint dripping down from this. So it doesn't have to look good. That's fine. The messier, the better, in my opinion. But just make sure that you really get the rim painted black, because it doesn't make sense if there's like drips coming down, but you still see pink or orange in some cases. Okay, now that's done, we're gonna go ahead and just take a blob of paint and just kind of guide it so that it drips down. And you can like tilt it. I think I need more paint. We're gonna take more paint so that it just like drips off the brush, and then just really... Whenever I do any kind of drip work, whether that be blood or paint, I really make sure that I get a lot of paint on the brush and then just let the paint drip off of the brush and drip in that natural pattern that it wants to. That way it looks the most natural and it doesn't look like you just painted a drip on. So it just looks the most realistic when you do it that way. And it's also just a lot of fun to kind of play with the drips, making them each a different length and really customizing whatever it is that you're painting with the drips. For the yellow pumpkin, I started to detail the pumpkin in the way that I did with the pink one, and I decided I didn't like that, so I just kind of went around and dry brushed the entire thing with a very thin layer of black, just to distress it and to really make it look grungy and dirty. So I definitely forgot to hit record. Such is life, I guess. But basically I just took this brush, dipped it in some paint, slashed it around. I'll do another one just to show you. Yeah, just going at it with this. And then I'm taking this little brush, dipping it in just a little bit of paint, and then I'm just kind of adding some smaller splatters. But yeah, this is not the weirdest thing that I've done in this driveway. I was working on Rocky Horror Show last year, and I had to splatter a t-shirt for Eddie with blood. And so I just took the t-shirt, hung it up against the side of my car, and just splattered it with red acrylic paint. And I still have paint on my car that looks like blood. So, such is life of being a costumer, I suppose. The next step was to shadow all of the bricks on the picture frame with a darker purple gray. Then I mixed a very light purple and dry brushed the tops and sides of all the bricks to catch all the highlights, and you can really see the difference between the back and the front. And then I used a darker green to get in all of the shadows and contours of the gargoyle. And so I went into the sockets of his eyes and his mouth and all the different grooves and wrinkles on his face and in his ears to really show that those are the shadows and the contours of the stone. After that, I dry brushed with a very light green on all of the high points and just kind of all over the gargoyle. And then I decided that I didn't really like that, so I went in with just white to really make a stark contrast between the already pale green of the gargoyle and the highlight color. And you can also see the detail work that I did on all of the rocks and the chains, which was the same exact technique that I've been doing with everything else. I painted everything black, and then I went in with a light gray and dry brushed it, and then I went in with white to really sink in the highlights and to really catch the top layer of everything to make everything pop. For the teal pumpkin, I also added drips to it. I really loved that effect on the pink pumpkin so much that I decided to do it on this one. And the paint dripped a lot easier on this pumpkin than it did on the other. And I think it's because it's a glossy paint on this one, and the other one dried matte, so it kind of got stuck. But this one dripped really well, and they look amazing, and it looks like some kind of nasty ooze. Once everything was dry, I went in with Mod Podge and black glitter and covered all of the black paint with the Mod Podge and then dumped some glitter on top of it. And it looks really cool. I love the effect that it had. And, you know, who doesn't love sparkly black glitter blood ooze? For the garland, I did a couple of different things on all of the pumpkins. On a few of them, I dry brushed it to give them kind of a dirty, distressed look. And then on one of them, I dripped some paint down to make it look like blood again, because I like that effect. And I painted the yellow one and did kind of a combination of like messy outer black with the drips, which made it look really very scary. Didn't like that, but it's a really cool effect.
For the last yellow pumpkin, I really struggled with what to do with it, so my roommate suggested that I paint little cracks on it, which I thought was a very neat idea, and they ended up looking like tree branches, but I think the point comes across. I knew that for the last remaining pumpkins, I wanted to splatter them with the black paint, but I knew that I needed a straw and I didn't have any plastic straws, so I actually got some DoorDash from McDonald's just for the straw so that I could dip the straw in the paint and then use whatever was on the end to blow out and create those really cool splatter effects.
Alright, and everything is done. I am very happy with how it all turned out. They're all really, really, really cute, and I definitely got glitter all over me and everywhere. I think I will have glitter on me until the day I die, but it's fine. And before I show you my beautiful creations, I just want to say thank you to everyone who has voted for me for the Anchorage Press Picks Best Costumer 2020. You can vote once a day up until October 14th. So if you want to go ahead and do that, I will go ahead and drop the link in the description box down below. Again, thank you. I'm so excited to be even nominated. It was a huge surprise, and I'm genuinely just very humbled and very thrilled about it. And without further ado, here are my pastel Halloween decorations.
The house is haunted by the echo of your last goodbye. The house is haunted by the memories that refuse to die. I can't get away from a vision that brings intimate glimpses of intimate things. A voice in my heart like a torch singer sings. I wonder who's kissing her now. The house is haunted by the echo of your favorite song. The place is cluttered up with roses that have lived too long, much too long. The ceiling is white, but the shadows are black. A ghost in my heart says she'll never come back. The house is haunted by the echo of your last goodbye.
Okay, now that I've sufficiently made a huge mess out of everything, thank goodness I'm gonna go shower after this because I'm a messy, messy, messy child. Also, my hair is like 95% dry shampoo right now, so it's due for a wash. I also definitely got paint on my glasses. Whatever. You have to fold in the cheese, David. But yeah, who doesn't love spooky crafts? I don't know a single person. They're no friend of mine. That's for sure. Oh no, I got paint on my shirt. Hopefully that comes off. What was I talking about? Beetlejuice! What are you doing? It's my time. tattoo appointment later today. Hello? Okay, now we're recording again. Okay, cool. This might be very dangerous and very stupid, but we'll just do it anyways. Ha-ha! Like a cake. Beetlejuice. Sir, you are being obnoxious. Ah!